C plus plus.
An older like.
Yeah, I got, yesterday. You saw some grad student over there.
Even more than that.
It's all the way from.
One I said is a very
old.
3 years. That's what we have to, but we have to figure out how much the cable is. The cable.
Way too much, some different.
Buy way too much.
Oh, scratch number. Also, very sure.
I probably have to look at.
Okay. Good morning. So good to see you again. Today we go through the lecture. It's about slightly boring. It's about some like ethical issue. So just like say, so some like ethics, legal stuff. So this one just like some question. If you're interested, you can look at it. If no, just we are gonna skip it. So you can go back to that. So when we talk about cybersecurity, so like part of it is about ethics. So how can we make sure? Because like when the attacker try to steal the personal information, your data, then just like on one side, we have to like protect our personal data information, and that's like it's like especially when you equip certain skills, you know how to like doing something to steal others' information, then you need to know how to use your apply your skill in a good way. So we need to learn. So it's right here. When we talk about like ethic and technology, because we always like for technology, we need to be shaping the good distribution power, justice, and we have our responsibility. So we need to know. So, and also the technology will greatly impact our opportunities of our living a good life. So if we always like bring a good impact, but also on the flip side, it always can cause certain issue. Especially nowadays, because all our information, like you may say, okay, you may have your like social security number, date of birth, like even your address, phone number. Because when you try to create an account on different application, so they will store all these things on cloud, like on computer. So actually, some company they will use. I think pretty common. Were you curious why you will always receive some phone call, or like even you change your number, get a new number, you will still have some like get some spam. Ask you a question. Have you ever think, you will get some like scam or like some spam, like get a phone call? But have you ever tried to install some like mobile application, like kind of protection help you to block all those calls?
Yes.
Okay, you have it. Okay. Have you ever think about question why those apps can be work, or like why the apps it works?
One of them is based off of white pages, and it will take the incoming phone number and compare it, and if it's other people have reported it over the course of however long that number is spam likely, then
Okay.
it'll just block it. But if it isn't or hasn't nobody's hit on it, then it'll allow it through.
Okay. And have you realized maybe there's certain range, like the phone number, because the first 3 digit is the region, right? So sometimes like so based on the region, okay, it's like come from somewhere. And have you ever figured out there's some like certain pattern or like certain range of the phone number? Like when they call like, oh, why now if you're using iPhone, I think Android too. So they will say like spam risk. Okay. Okay, yeah. So have you ever think actually it may be possible? Or like why now we call it VoIP, the voice. also they are like virtual. If you use the Google Voice, I think you can register, or like some other third-party company, you can just like pay for it and get it. That means like everyone can get a kind of like fake phone number and then call. Okay. That means like maybe somehow if you have to think is we can actually we already know, or like some number that potentially can be the spam, right? Or the scam is possible. But we are not block it, but sometimes we just allow it to do it. Or even you try to change your phone number, but you will still able to like get those spam or like somehow like junk call. Then like that one's we block it. But why they can get our information, or like have you ever think how can they make a cold call or using the bot to make the call to you? Where did they get the phone number? Do you think they just
What companies that you have to put in that information, like a lot of them sell your information.
Mhm.
Those people, so.
Well, I think what you're getting at is that if you get a new number and you're still getting bot calls, it's because that there's an automated type system that'll go through and try a lot of your phone numbers, trying to give phone calls to every single one in almost like a numerical order.
Okay, yeah. So one of it, and also they're selling you, and especially you realize that I remember first time I bought my car, and then you realize that suddenly you have lots of call about insurance repair. Yeah, comes out. So you realize they will sell your personal information to other third party, like they will try to buy, or they will try to like pay for it to get, but it's really working right now. So especially everything, all your personal data goes online, they will collect all the information. Basically, your phone number, your name, your email. So at least these three kind of things. And then they can sell it to other company. So it's one thing about ethical, it's like how we're going to share it. And why now they come out, I think the website, it pops out, share the cookie, allow a cookie. Why not they change the policy? They request it, okay. Because the cookies also, they will keep the cache of your information. So it's like one of things, like if you're going to share, you need to let your user, like the who maybe open some service, or like they go to your website, or like purchase something. You always like you need to put the policy, or like when you share the information. So it's like we need to let the user know how they use your personal data. And most of the time, the company, they have their right. Suppose legally they have a right to keep their customers' information, even a government, like maybe some department request. I think pretty common. Okay, long time ago, if you know the watch the news, you know Apple. So I think there's a, how long ago I forgot. So the case is the department requests Apple to get they need to get the user information from the Apple, right? So Apple reject it. Yeah, we refuse it. But suppose what I believe of it. So it's not a lecture, but you believe actually lots of company, even though they claim that no, but they should actually in behind under the table, they should submit all your personal information to the government department. Yeah, so we always have a right, and especially the technology, like increase we collecting more information. Even you're feeling okay, right now maybe just personal information, but more than that is like when we're using a cell phone, we detect your location, or like if we're using a map, Google Map or Apple Map, or you know right now they can detect using cell phone, they know if you're going up to stair, going down, or like go to certain location, right? So they can collect. If you do some research, you will see there are some data open to public you can download. So based on the they are download it used for the research, and you can actually all this data will be open and collect more than what they expected. And how they use it, and then are they selling for purpose like as a benefit? So we never know. And that's why right now we comes more like the challenge more than before, long time ago, because it's not easy to access the information, but right now we have more chance to it. So when we say the speed, scales, which the technology right now is transforming the social fabric of life. And then right now the inability and the regularity of the lawmaker to keep up with this change. So even right now, I think the laws should be changing and then updated. Like, maybe we have more online store, and maybe even yourself, you can just open maybe Shopify or like IG store, Facebook market. So you can sell all the things. Like then when you collect the user data, because once the customer send you an order, right? So you will get their name, address, phone number. Sometimes you will get their credit card, maybe their payment record. So how are you going to use it? Because you are the one like to get those information. It change. And most likely ethical issue are the core of the cybersecurity. Because we need to secure and then shield the ability of human individuals and groups to live well. I'm not going to go through the details, but we need to know the cybersecurity practice is primarily to protect the integrity, functionality, and reliability of human entity and practice that rely upon such data system and networks. So everything's protection, secure, and that's it. And the cybersecurity practice and professionals. So we always say be professional. Proficiency is important in cybersecurity, or not only cybersecurity, but also as a programmer and software developer. In other industry too, to us too, we are not saying, okay, I just develop a program and that's it. Because when we involve, actually for the software developer, sometimes we have a chance to touch other companies really like sensitive data or like really kind of like important information, because when they need to convert the data maybe to the database, or we need to develop an API, we need to go through the information to look at the structure. So we always have a really high chance, or like we can be a system manager and then control all the, like, let's say the school. So you were able to access all the maybe student information, faculty's information, contact. If like ethically you think, okay, I have a chance to get something, or I want to get somebody contact, actually you can just copy and paste, download it, or take a picture. Then you're already able to steal it. So just like be professional, and you have a responsibility to handle on these things and try to protect, we call the protection of accredited user, student, power, or like everyone. So will be included. Let's say there's an example, and hardworking first generation college senior, and just like request that the copy of his university transcript be sent to 10 graduate school to which he's applied, and then he doesn't know that he was recently is a victim of innocent undetected intrusion into 5 universities network as a prank, and in turn to change a random stash student courses grade to an F. So here's lots of cases. We don't have to really discuss. You should know, okay, something should be wrong. Some should be like, try not to do that. Then I just skip those examples. So if you're interested, you can look at it. The most important and significant ethical issue is that we need to define issues like important versus significant. When it's associated, like harm or benefits have like substantial possibility of making a difference to a certain individual chance to have a good life, or the chance of a good to live well. Lots of definition and lots of things you can write down, but I'm not require you to memorize all these things. I know ethical things is really hard to like judge, but we need to know like what's doing right or wrong. Just like always thinking like who are you working for, and then what kind of information, like who you should protect. then always be aware of it. So just like not doing for your own benefits or for your own interest. And cybersecurity efforts are often like carried out behind the scene. So that's what we're always doing. And then largely done away from the customer, client, other users. And then the ethical nature of cybersecurity practice can be harder to recognize. It's always true because we work on the like back end or like the system in behind. So they never see, like once they click the button, the input like name, data, or like bank information. So after they click the button submit or apply, so all the information goes to the backend. So how can we protect those things and make sure like doing encryption, prevent the attacker to steal the information, also ourselves, like as an employee inside the system, try not to use as a benefit. There's a news, but it's really long time ago. If you have a banker, so I think it's doing investment. So he realized that, okay, because in the bank, they have a like most of the time we only show the last 3 digits. Yeah, okay. But sometimes we have more than that, maybe like 0.001 like this. So that banker, they try to transfer all those like after that, because maybe it's showing on the record, it doesn't come out. Yes, you know it. Okay, so
It's like a half cent or a 1 cent out of
When-
a single transaction, but over the course of the year.
Okay, yeah, you know. Yeah, so over a year, actually, I think he got more than billion, I think, so million or billion. I forgot exactly amount. So you know, even just a banker, let's say, it just take like 5 cents from your account every transaction. So to you, you feel like, okay, it only 5 cents. Yeah, maybe you didn't see the huge change of number, or say, okay, just like 5 cents and that's it, or 1 cent, you never realize it. But when if you're a banker, that means within the transaction within 1 day, you may be more than 1,000 transactions or 1 million transactions, you never know. But you're taking 1 cent every day, by yearly, yeah. So
Only office space.
yeah, so because we say that ethically, because you have a chance to access the system, you have the right. Also, when you have the right to access those and modify, then ethically it's like, okay, you think, okay, you're just taking 1 cent, it won't affect you anything, but still it belongs to the customer. It's your customer's own property. So we have no right. And we do because before our project like really install the camera, the surveillance system for the house. Okay, so you always get the admin system, or like you always try to set a backdoor for yourself, like try to remote do the configuration. Which means you can check your customer's camera 24/7 like this. You can see what they are doing at the time, or like you can see. So ethically, if you say, okay, let me just check, or like maybe there's some camera like pointing to certain location, it's not suitable, you shouldn't look at it, then you need to know, like, should you look at it or check somebody where they put the money, or like something like that, or like their jewelries, yeah. Or they will they ask you if you set up the Wi-Fi, maybe you have a chance, they say, okay, set up the router password, you set the remote DNS, set the port, like, do you know everything like this? So if you have one of them really rich, wealthy, and okay, later next time, let me check the record, like, or like I can set the middleman in the middle and then save all the browser record, and then maybe you can save some payment, or like when you do the filter, you know, okay, you get some payment and then save a credit card, and then use those credit card information to do something else. Yeah. Because when we equip more skills, you know more, then we are easier compared to others to access, apply those knowledge and technology in a real life to steal others as an attacker. So we need to know, yes. And on this one, if for the ethical cybersecurity impact, for failures, actually it can introduce risks to the people's life and safety, also can destroy people or business and reputation, saving liberties, and it really can make it successful. That means we can provide safer infrastructure, reduce social and economic anxiety, and also increase the investment and innovation. Okay. Important ethical issue in cybersecurity or harms to privacy. So common cyber threats to private include like identity theft, blackmail, extortion, corporate or government espionage, and misconduct. So the challenge right now in the network societies, so sensitive data that rarely stays confined to the digital content in which was the original create or share, collected global data econ system that give more individual little to no ability to personal correct, detect, correct, and control the storage or release of their privileged information. So also like privacy isn't just about online activity, it expands to the facial. And right now, we also using the facial ID. Okay, and have you using some apps, they require you to recognize or like scan your face to log in? Not only just Face ID, like Face ID is applied in iPhone, but when you use another app, so when you want to set up the account or maybe when you use for certain time, they will kick you out. That means let you sign out. That means your section already expired. Then they require you to sign in again. When you sign in again, they will ask you, okay, place your driver license or your ID. They will scan it, and then they will try to match, and then they ask you to scan your face. Have you ever tried? Okay, there's
I'm logging with my phone when I use my phone, but then I also have an app that'll do a facial recognition just but it's not. It's like I'm doing it again to verify that I'm passwords, but nothing like verifying your driver's license except for one log in.
Okay, I remember them. I try something else. They will recognize because they will try to scan the picture of your called the ID, and then they will match with the one that you do it. So they will match it. Yeah. So you see, actually those company third parties, they are doing in this way. But most of the time I use those will be some online banking or like other bank. So they want to like verify that it's you and make sure, okay, it's not somebody else that steal your phone and then try to log into your bank account. Okay. But it means like those banks, especially the bank, want to increase the security to protect your information. And sometimes you see the news comes out. So I shared the one in cloud. It's like called a Capital One. So they also lost the attacker. So I think they have a misconfig on the firewall. But that was about the misconfig of firewall. So in the cybersecurity, we learn about the UFW, the advanced security rules. And in really low level, we just learning the basic. They say, okay, we open to the public, anybody, or like we open the ports for some certain service or application, like 443, or sometimes we open like port 3000 or somehow other ports for our application. But for others, we maybe open more than that. And sometimes it's configured that I don't know, maybe some servers already phased out, but I forgot to close the port. Or the one thing is about the employee, some employee, they have access, like they may be the employee of this bank before, but they forgot to remove the privilege or the right. So one day you go back and check, okay, I'm not working for this bank anymore, but let me check if I'm able, or like I remember the firewall policy, I set the backdoor. So ethically, it's like, I know, especially I work for them, or like I by somewhere I know, okay, how does the setup or everything. Okay, after I leave, okay, let me try to access back to the system. But somehow they didn't really we call that like always like called auditing. So auditing, that means review the user right, and also the change the firewall policy that based on, you know, it always changing. Like new employee comes in and some people they leave. So we need to always change the policy, or some system migration or remove, then we will change the policy. So we remember always go through all the settings, security and firewall again. Especially right now, it's like everything goes to digit, like online internet. So we need to pay attention to it. And the common cyber threats that the probably includes like the cyber intrusion, seeking, the manipulating the electronic funds, stealing valuable intelligent properties, as a trade secret, obtain bank account numbers, password. So all this we mentioned. So it's not only digital, or sometimes like access to some like physical property. Okay. Motivation for such a harm is like very widely. So such property can be targeted by profit-seeking criminal enterprise. By the politically like motivated groups of non-state actors, or by the agents or corporate exponent, by the hostile military or intelligence agents or foreign nation, or by the impulse of the lone hacker or like collective seeking to demonstrate their own destructive power. So any parties can be possible to attack, or those called although because or we are open to public, all the information open to public, so open to the car. So once you can scan all the IP address, or like you just really, if you write a bot to really ping to all the IP address, then you may be able to find one. And this is happening nowadays. Sometimes we say government, yes, and we call the cyber war, or like even, you know, some countries, they have a like hacker team try to attacking each country, other country, to try to steal their like maybe say, okay, just like some personal data, it really doesn't matter. But in the military, if you know what's the new weapons, yeah, what's the aircraft they're building, so they're more like sensitive data. And that's with their purpose, try to attack. Okay. And cybersecurity resources allocation. And always when they will consume considerable individuals and organization resources, time, money, and expertise. I think it's from recent 10 years, the sense about like cybersecurity goes up. Before, not so, I think this industry, yes, it exists. Also in the industry, they do, there's some like products like firewall. When we talk about firewall, what's called the physically we can purchase. There's a product, right? So you can like add it between your router, and then your WAN comes in, so you can pop it. So they will have like certain policy, or they have to drop some assets, like certain assets. So also right now, you can also change your, like if you have your router, also you can set the auto site inbound, outbound policy, so allow the access. So we have two types, hardware and software to it. So we need to know the effort can be like negatively impact to the systems like capacity and performance, power efficiency, and usability and reliability. Okay, so reliability is like if you're not safe as a service provider, if you easily being attacked or like access, then nobody using your service is easy to understand. And also when sometimes we mention DDoS, or they allow to do some certain injection, so it will consume your like the processing power. So it will cause your whole system going slow, like or your company organization have an impact. So you say, okay, if your even you just like keep just a router, okay. So if you allow your router to accept ping, like multiple pings, or we reply to the like DDoS, then your maybe normally when you for your daily usage, maybe around 90%, 20%, or sometimes goes up higher to 40%. But when you are keep like respond to the DDoS, it always 100%. That means when the router need to handle new requests, then we're getting slow. And when it's overload, then probably you will cause the like breakdown of network connection. So all this is not simple, or like they're always like correlated. Yeah. It causes a chain reaction. Yeah. So we need to identify the adjustable balance between all well resources in cybersecurity and kind of a functionality is an ethical one, and since it requires reflecting carefully upon the harms, benefits, rights, and values involving such decisions, and the likely impacts of decision on the ability of the others to seek and lead good life. Yeah. And using white or always we were facing because study computer science, or like if you learn cybersecurity, so we always have a problem to face. It's called a trade-off. So if your boss, your manager, supervisor say, okay, we have certain limitation, but ethically, okay, say, okay, how much you can do to protect your customer information, your data, then you need to put it as a consideration. Because we are impossible, like, of course, like based on the access right, you say, okay, we set up multiple layers and then limit all the maybe the right, or like set lots of different gateway like in hardware. So of course we can increase the security. Yeah. But however, that means we need to put more resources, or even like just like money, or like hire more employees. So it's kind of like impossible. So how can we make it like balance? Can we protect the user information, some sensitive data also with the limited resource? Okay. And it's gonna be called the like transparency and disclosure. So generally, but limited of the obligation of transparency in practice that affect the well-being for other people. Cybersecurity is a form of risk management. Here's a really key concept. That's what we always do. The risk management is that we always prevent something going to happen. Yeah. When we open our server to public, or like maybe we have a website, because like we allow everyone, actually it's like globally, to access it, then lots of risk, or sometimes we can preview, or sometimes we never know something going to happen. So we need to limit. What we're going to do is try to, in case we have certain thing happen, what's the plan 1, plan 2, or plan 3 to prevent it, or like what's the step 1, step 2? And because those risks significantly impact other parties, so there are default ethical duty to disclose those risks when known, so that those affected can make informed decision. Yeah. So we always have documents, and then we report those parties. They require, they sometimes we will forward to some company, or say, you need to help us to take the action. Complexity of cybersecurity scenario involve different facts, the place, different goods and interests at stake. So there's no one size fits all rules or instruction that one can follow to guarantee appropriately transparent cybersecurity practice. So it's always. So we always regulation. We have some like notification laws, or some like report to the federal government. So it's how the cybersecurity And about the roles, duties, and interests. So when the cybersecurity practice involves a number of like distinct roles and interests, some of which is the intention or conflict with one another. Varieties of roles and subcultures of cybersecurity practice can also generate confusion of the ethical standards of cybersecurity community. So, for example, they say ethical standards of a hacker community, a debate amplified by the divergence of sub-communities of those who identify like white hat, black hat, gray hat hackers. Because we always put the hacker, so why here we discuss about the hackers. Not all the hackers, they are doing illegal things. Okay. Because we say the hacker, they are looking for the backdoor of a system, and then they will report to the company, and they're not really stealing, but we are helping to improve the security. I know, I forgot how much. I think it's around 5. I think Microsoft, they allow it happened long time ago. I think it's around 5,000. I think there's a student. Have you heard about? I think there's a student, and if should be student or just a hacker. Yeah. I forgot how old is he, but he figured out there's a backdoor on the Microsoft. So he report the backdoor. Also, he provide the solution like how to fix the backdoor of the Microsoft service. So the Microsoft pay him. I remember it was 5,000, and later Microsoft invites him into the team, like working in Microsoft too. So if you're interested, also if you think you are good enough, of course you can be. So some of them just like as a purpose, like interest, like I want to increase the security level, or like I want to searching. Because you say why, I think I asked this question a long time ago, because no matter how many updates you have, we always have a battle. We always have some problem, like security issue. Because when we migrate a system, upgrade system, or we open certain service for testing, maybe for development, we always say set a task like ask to do testing, but we forgot to close it, or like for us, like okay, for development or for maintenance. So we set a port or like easy to access. Then when they scan it and they say, okay, I can get into your system by this port, then they can steal your information. So this always happen. And when we are writing new function, we're working together because we need to open certain one. Okay, maybe we have 2 files, and then I need to if we add a new function, that function required to access certain hardware or some data. But we just set the higher privilege. If you remember the read, write, execute, those right. Okay. Okay, maybe I add a new application and okay, I just set the height. Then maybe some hacker, then they say, okay, I can like connect to your computer or system through this application or through this port. And then we'll go to this directory. So once you able to like access to the directory, or you can, let's say you have a right to write a file to connect to it. Okay, so you can just like the comment, if you remember, sudo nano create file. So you can write a batch file, and then that batch file can grant the root admission. And after you get the root admission, then maybe you say, okay, let me change other files permission to certain one. So once you're able to inject one file inside, then we are able to change all the permission, file permission or directory permission. So it's possible. And later we'll cover what's like the SQL injection too. So it can so when you input, or you can try if you learn, you can later, actually we have one exercise, let you to do it. We'll just cover we'll cover the SQL injection. So I will show you. When you input the username, email, or password, so you know how it works. Like how we send to a database and then reply. You know when, how does this, like when, let's say just a login page. So when you input your email, password, and then you submit the button, right? So what's it behind? How is it working? How can it redirect to a page, the dashboard? Or redirect to another page. So what's the server doing at the time?
Like credentials versus a database, so.
Uh-huh. So, I know some of you learn web programming also, or more details. So you know the server API. So what's the, like, after you send the request, I think you should know.
So once you send a request, it's gonna put it in the URL for the request, and it's gonna put it into an SQL query.
Okay.
And then depending on how that's formatted, how the password and username are formatted,
Mhm.
it can, instead of searching for that value, it can modify the query to just fluctuate.
Okay, so that means we will go through a step like execute a SQL, right? SQL, the query. Okay, so select name or like match if. So it should be for MySQL, it should be where maybe username equals to the input username like this. But if you like by the following of that, if I put a semicolon and then I put job table or like update table. So for the SQL, so we call the SQL injection. So normally we just like add the ones that matching on data, but we put the like extra SQL instruction as a following. Then maybe they will treat it as two instructions. So first is select the data, and then second they execute another part. So you're thinking for hacker, like as a purpose, they want to destroy your system or like remove your database, then they can try to do. Coming with another what I say, they have an exercise or like assignment, you can try to do that to check to using the SQL injection. Different people have different in purpose. We say some we are looking for the backdoor and then fix it, good hacker, or some like doing it for benefits, or in this community, yes, we do. So we try to some application we have to pay for it, and then they're looking for some certain method to bypass it, bypass the verification, or like bypass some code checking. So yes, it can bring to the, even Microsoft, we have to pay for it. But when we purchase the laptop, part of the price included the Microsoft, like the Windows, right? But if you buy your own desktop, if you embed your own one, so you will purchase a key, right? But of course, there's some way to get a free license or like by some methods, right? Then who invest those ones? It harms the benefit of Microsoft, but it benefits to the public or globally, right? So how can we decide? Like it's like ethically, if you say right or wrong, it's really hard to tell. That depends on which standpoint. So we just need to know maybe ethically it should be wrong, but you also helping lots of like poor or like for study. Sometimes they say this one is for study purpose or for experiment. Yeah. So remember to remove it. So maybe you can do it in this way. Okay. So for the best practice for cybersecurity ethics, always like keep the cybersecurity ethics in the spotlight and out of the company box. Consider the human life and interest behind the system, and consider downside risk in cybersecurity practice. Don't discount any non-technical actors' interests, expectations, exposures. Establish the chains of ethical responsibility and accountability, practice cybersecurity disaster planning, crisis response, promote value or transparency, and automation, the trustworthiness, consider disparate and interest, resources, and impact, design for privacy and security model for advocate for the ethical security practice. So all this legal legal issue. It always influence when we talk about ethics. So just like about ourselves, but when things really happen, then we will go to like legally issue. Because when we still others like property, maybe no matter it's like physically or some like IP, so they will go to that side. When we talk about the regulations, the fact that the commercial is not the equivalent to security. So look at the definitions. So it involves like meeting various controls usually and acted by the regulation authority, laws, or industry groups to protect the, we call the CI, confidentiality, integrity, availability of data. So it's right here. Just need to remember about the CIA, and not really we need to remember everything. And major cyber security complaints requirements. We have the HIPAA. This is one of it, GDPR. We can skip it. So if you're interested, you can go into details. So just to let you know, we have different requirements, standards we have to follow, and they will keep checking. So right here, okay. So GDPR, or sometimes when we download some application, they have some like README file, and then they will say we are under certain regulation we need to post, or like when you try to reuse some resources, remember, okay, we need to credit to certain things. Yeah, kind of like ethical is like this. And because also sometimes called the IP, the properties, when we reuse others, like share resources, even they open to public, but we need to like credit them. So always remember 7 principles: lawfulness, fairness, and transparency, provides limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, integrity, and confidentiality. That means the security, accountability, and then the full rights will be right to inform, access, version, verification, erasure, restriction, processing, data portability up to object, and then the right around the automated decision-making profit. So all this. You can see the versions right now. So it's the 10 studies and 43 requirements. Based on the change also right here, we're getting more, maybe the latest right now here. So information protection process. Actually, when they cover, because when the cybersecurity is transformed, they try to include the new, let's say, the internet activities. When we transform or like getting new activity, then also they always change their standard. So CIP right here. So we will say, we will hear what's the framework. Cybersecurity framework is a series of documents. So define the best practice an organization follow to manage its cybersecurity risk, such as frameworks reduce a company's exposure to vulnerabilities. So we have right here the NIST. So we have the ID, PR, DE, RS, and RC. So we have got identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So all this we have the under. So it's a ID.am access management. So we will see lots of documents, names. As a reference, you don't have to memorize all these things. So you just know, or unless you're already going up for more details or getting some certain certificates, then you need to know all these things. Just have a roughly understanding. Okay, we have like certain regulation complaints, and we have the regulation we have to follow, and it will be good enough to our class. So we are quickly go through some ethical. In the class, we need to cover this part like about ethics, like we need to like legals, but true. We have the right to use certain things, then we need to know we have to protect especially as we are equipped with the skills, and then we know certain things how to access or like control the right. So it's important. So to protect the system, also the sensitive data. And we'll be finished for this part for the ethic. I just post right now for the following, I just post a new assignment right here. If you don't know it, okay. Right here, I just post it right here. You should able to see. Okay, so based what you learn, let me see. I should have one more assignment 2. Okay. It's pretty easy, and I actually in the second page, try not to look at the second page. Because I give you some instruction. So if you really have no direction and you don't know how to do, then you can refer to the page 2. Then you can follow the guideline. Okay. So right here, I'm asking because all you should like after I think 44 weeks, so you should already create your EC2 instance, and then most of you should able connect to your server, right? And then you make a screenshot already submit it. So this time we need to create a new user account. Well, right now when we log in, it's called the Ubuntu, right? Then how can we create a new user? And then after we create a new user, we will get the home directory. So what's the home directory? So when we log in, so sometimes we use the CD change or list the file. So we always under the home and then with the folder name called Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the user name based on, so when we create the account, so we have the folder. It's under your name. So if you look at your system too, if you go to your user, then you will see the folder is under your name. Then you have the desktop, document, downloads. So they how we create. So it's the same. The system is the same. So when you create a new account, then you will have a home directory, and also check the file and then the directory permission. So if you remember last time we both on Tuesday we used the 2 commands. One is the chmod to change the read write execute. So if you remember, let's say, yeah. And then also another one is change the user group, the user and the group and other. Yeah. So those will be we are going to use. And if you remember, we're using sudo a lot. So this time we can get the sudo permission, and I use the delta data. So if you remember the commands I used before, so it kind of like a practice to let you know more, and then you can make sure after you create the account, so they are allowed to access it. And you can create, after you create the account, you can have a home directory, also based on the one, try to create a new folder, SLV, under SLV CSCI 310, assignment 2, so we create. And you can create a full, any file, maybe just test file, any content, it doesn't matter. I just want to let you know, okay, how can you create any file and change the, aside the appropriate file and then the directory permission. So let's say this one's allow you to access, then which user group should assign to, also like what's the file permission you should assign to. And after you finish all the steps, just make a screenshot, like when you this. And actually in the page 2, I quickly jump to here. Okay, so here's the command I provide to you. You can try to follow. So it will show you how to create a username and then change the file permission, or like change the ownership to the group, and then how can we verify. So here should be ID user or SU, we can switch the user. So here's some you can quickly refer to the page 2 for get the information, or if we to list the directory info, we can use ls-l So to list the information is the read write execution, also the user and the groups belong, like the file or the folder belongs to. So you can do the screenshot of these things. Yeah, I put it plenty of time. I think I say it's around 2 weeks deadline on the joint. Yeah, so you are pretty along. I believe it won't be a difficult task assignment. So you should able to finish pretty quick. Okay. And this will be for today's class and for the assignment. And that's it. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. Then, thank you.